My name's Dwayne Thomas, and welcome to the Great Library. I'm going to start this video out today by taking some of the names that I have forgotten from the first list and start talking about some of my friends I've worked with out at AK and Armco Steel. First name on the list is Dennis Chasteen. Now Dennis Chasteen, we called him Ruffy. I don't know why he got that nickname Ruffy. He was not rough. He was not a rough crane operator. He was smooth as a baby's butt. And he was a great guy, and Dennis liked playing his music. If I'm not mistaken, I think he played some banjo music, I think. And maybe some ukulele or something like that. I can't remember. You guys can hit me up on that. But he loved playing that kind of music. And he was a great guy and a stupendous, smooth as a baby's butt crane operator. I remember Rick Williams. How many of you guys remember Rick Williams? Raise your hand. Don't raise your hand. I can't see him. Rick Williams and them, they had somewhat of a leak on one of the hot metal pots one night, and Dennis Chasteen was running the crane. Ruffy was. I don't know if he was a regular 504 crane operator on that turn or not, but he might have been working an overtime turn because he liked to work the overtime. So Ruffy was up there in 504 crane, and what had happened is a hot metal pot back toward the back where the 75 connects into the pin. It had a breakout, had a small breakout, and it leaked hot metal down onto the hook, on the 75-ton hook, and it fused it to the pin. He couldn't do anything with it. He couldn't pour the steel because the height of the pot and everything. They was frostbit. So Rick Williams told me, he goes, you know what Ruffy did? I said, what? He said, we brought a hot metal pot over, and he brought that pot down over top the floor, got it over top that hot metal pot that was probably 20 or 30 foot below it, and poured that metal by using the 300 ton, just by lowering it down, poured it and repotted it. All that hot metal into that new hot metal pot, and he said he didn't spill a drop, not one drop. He said it was the most amazing thing he'd ever seen in his life. And I've seen Ruffy run the cranes up there, and he was badass. Now, he was something. He was hard to clean after. Very smooth. Come down over the floor, putting the hook into the back of the pot, and by the time he's in front of the vessel, he'd be pouring and have the end of the pot coming up. That's how I used to run a crane too. But it took a long time to learn how to do that. And once I learned how to do it, I ran it all the time like that. And all the people that I broke in on that crane, since they called me Elvis over there, they were known as the Memphis Mafia. So all the Memphis Mafia knew how to run that crane like that. Mike May, you know how to run that crane like that. Because when I was down at 501, I saw you run that crane like that one day. I was very impressed. Very slick, very smooth crane operator. So Ruffy was a great guy. I've been up in the crane with him before, and we would sit there and tell different stories about music and all kinds of different things. And he was taken from us. Let's see, Dennis Chasteen died on November 4th, 2015. So he hadn't been retired very long. I think we all retired back in 2006 or 2007. So he hadn't been retired very long, probably be about 8 or 9 years. I think somebody told me he had some dental work done, or some type of dental work. And I don't know if he had some type of reaction from the medication or whatever they gave him or something like that, but I think he died in bed. So if any of you guys know anything about that, I'm just kind of second-handing this information. But I did work with Dennis, and I could never figure out. I had him in the crane one day, and I said, Dennis, why do they call you Ruffy? I don't understand that. You're just as smooth as a baby's ass. He goes, well, some guys don't think so. And I went, well, they don't know about cranes then, because you're awesome in the crane. And he was a great guy. I loved Ruffy. Lost a lot of good people over there. Derek Perrin, you guys remember Derek Perrin? Raise your hands. Don't raise your hands because I can't see them. I'm going to keep checking you guys on that. We called him Fat Boy. Now I worked with Fat Boy all over the mill. Built like a gorilla. Somebody you wouldn't want to mess with, but had a heart as big as all outdoors. Just a great guy, great worker. And I worked with him when I was running cranes back in 70 building when I was a crane doper. And he was crane leader. And he ran, he did the crane leading back there in the 70 building, and he did a great job. All the truck drivers, everybody loved Derek. And I believe he went over to BOF steelmaking. And I think he was down there in the pit doing something. I can't remember exactly what job he was doing, but you guys that work with him, you'll be able to tell me. But he was an avid sports fan. I think he was a coach at one time, and just a fantastic guy. Just kind of guy, a man's man. You know, you just like you want to be around him and talk to him and everything. And he was a great guy. I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think he passed away before he drew his first paycheck. I cannot remember. He died April the 14th, 2006. And we got locked out, I think, in September of 2006. So I don't even know if he even had a chance to retire or not. And even draw a first paycheck. A lot of them guys out there, they never drew a first paycheck. A lot of them didn't. Richard Morgan, that used to be one of the sanitation foremen, we called him Blue. He retired, and he was salary, and he retired, and he didn't even draw his first paycheck, from what I understand. He lived over in Lebanon, and they was over there in Lebanon. They got this little place where they play cards, and I can't remember if they said he died when he was over playing cards or not. He's buried over in Lebanon Cemetery. Great big guy, looked like Billy Bob at Showbiz Pizza. And he used to pick on me all the time. I was delegating the sanitation department, and I was cleaning the locker room. This is the Wyckoff locker room and the Wyckoff production planning offices and security. And I was back there, and I was wearing a short sleeve. Actually, I was wearing like a sweatsuit. And I was back there, and I was cleaning, and he come in here. He goes, "Dwayne, I got a little problem." Now, if you guys that's working sanitation, you know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Richard Morgan. And you know, he used to talk that way. "I got a little problem." I said, "You got a little problem?" "That's right." I said, "Well, what kind of problem you got, Richard?" "I need a long sleeve shirt." I said, "You need a long sleeve shirt?" Now I'm standing there looking at a man that's wearing a long sleeve shirt. And I just looked at him and I went, "You mean I need a long sleeve shirt?" And he goes, "That's right. You're not working safe." I said, "I'm not working safe." He goes, "That's right." And I said, "Richard, this is a locker room. At any given time, you may have 40, 50, 60 people in here running around butt naked. How do you figure I'm not being safe in a locker room?" He goes, "Because you're working with with chemicals, and you're not working safe." I just stood there and looked at him. I went, "All right. How you going to argue with him? He's the boss." So I went over my locker, got in the locker, got my sweatshirt out, put it on. He went ahead and left. The locker room was spotless. Never commented, never gave me any credit for it. He didn't like me. And because I was delegate and I was always busting his ass on something. So he left. I took that sweater back off, went back to short sleeve shirt. But he was comical. He died, I think, I don't really know when he died. I think he died back around, daggone, late 90s, I think. Maybe early 2000. I have to check on that. I didn't even have any plans of even talking to him today, but his name just popped into my head. But he's buried over at Lebanon Cemetery over in Lebanon, Ohio, and he was a great guy. I mean, he really was. He just had a job to do, and he wanted us to make sure we did our jobs. That's before I went over to the hospital. But I had left him out, I believe, in the first video. I got so many names to cover. I'm just drowning in names. I'm trying to keep contact or keep, control of the names and everything, and they're just swimming everywhere. But anyway, that was Richard Morgan. And Derek, Fat Boy, died April 14, 2006. He's buried in Woodside Cemetery. Dennis Chastain's over in Fairmount Cemetery, over in the Gratis area. And he's got like a little seat grave. I'll pop it up here. I got a picture of it. Jim Lacey. You guys ever work over the turncoat, you're going to know Jim Lacey. What a great guy. Jim Lacey, I always called him Bo. He called me Bo, and I always called him Bo. He rode me like a pack mule. I've never in my life, when we was running squad together, he was the captain and the founder of Franklin Emergency Squad, all the way back to, I think, 1969. Jim Lacey, if he said it, you could bet on it. Jim gave no shits. Jim took no shits. That's just the way he was. He was a square shooter and said what he thought. To tell you how honest he was, he looked at me one day and he says, Bo, he called me Bo. You know, I know you're not two-faced. I said, what? He goes, I know you're not two-faced. I said, why? He said, because you wouldn't be wearing that one. And everybody in the squad house busted out laughing. He rode me like a pack mule. Told me I was so ugly that if they put my face on a train, it would jump the track and take a mud road. I still today don't know what that means. But he was a great guy. I loved him. Very intelligent, said what he meant what he said. He worked many, many years over at number 2 Open Hearth, probably number 1 Open Hearth also. And finished up his time over at Turncoat. I think he had something like, golly, if I'm not mistaken, like 47 years in a mill or something. He was way, way, way up there. And Jim Lacey was a great guy. He was diabetic, and he had to take insulin. And I think they found him laying face first in his house. And I don't know if he died from insulin shock or if he just had too much insulin, died from insulin shock, or he just had a heart attack or something. I haven't really heard. I didn't know till a long time after that he'd passed away. And I often wondered where they had buried him out at, and nobody could seem to tell me. And he's over at Fairmount Cemetery over there in Granite, where Dennis Chastain's at. Bo, he died on September 12, 2013. Not a better guy in the world you'd ever want to meet and ever want to know. He's probably one of the most honorable people that you could ever meet in your life. I've never ever seen him say anything dishonest or dishonorable, or do anything dishonest or dishonorable. Out of 5 stars, he's 5 out of 5 stars. He's one of the best people I've ever met in my life, I've ever known in my life. Now his wife, he died September 12, 2013. He's in Fairmount, over around the Gratis area over there. His beautiful wife, Maxine, I'm going to give her honorable mention here. She was a nurse at Southview Hospital. Beautiful woman. And I looked at Bo one day and I said, how the hell did you get something as pretty as her, man? She's gorgeous. She's a beautiful lady, beautiful lady. And she was the first police officer in the city of Monroe. And I never even knew that. I never knew that at all. But I think she had cancer, and I believe she died in a hospice. And she was a grand lady. She's a beautiful, beautiful lady. And Jim loved her. He loved her a lot. I could tell. We talked about different things. And he's working in the Turncoat area. Now, another guy from the Turncoat area just passed away, Shirley Dean Bird. We always just called him Dean Bird. He was a step-up foreman over in the Turncoat area. He was a nice guy. You know, I can't say anything bad about him. Of course, I'm not going to say anything bad about anybody. I'm bringing it up here on video because that's not what I'm trying to do. But I never had too many workings with him or conversations with him, other than the fact that he made our time out and gave us our instructions and directions on where to go and what to do, because he ran the crane crew also. And he was just a good man. He was just a real good man. And he was up there in age too. And Dean died November 25th, 2019. I don't even know where they're going to bury him at yet, because I've not got the information on that yet. But he'll probably be buried in the area, Woodside Cemetery or something like that. I can get back to you later on it. So I left these guys out. Of course, a freshman come in, Dean Bird. And I wanted to kind of update this a little bit and make the videos a little shorter, because it's hard to keep somebody's attention for 40, 45 minutes. So I'm going to try to keep the videos to about 10, 15 minutes and do the memorials. And this is all about our loved ones and our friends that we worked with. It's all about tribute. It's all about memorial and paying tribute to our fallen people at Armco and AK Steel. So I'm going to need help here pretty soon because I'm running out of people that I know that I've worked with. I'll think of more as time goes along. Right now I'm trying to go back and backdated Facebook messengers as far as covering people, but the majority of these people I don't know. So Jan, if you want to cover Mike Combs, you're going to have to help me cover Mike Combs. You're going to have to get on camera because I think I only worked with him back in Masonry for a short period of time, and that was back in the 70s. And so that's clear back in the Stone Age. For me, I'm lucky to remember what happened to me 15 minutes ago. That's why I got to write everything down. But that's the list of names that I have today. And these are good people. James Lacey, Jim. Red Dog. You used to call him Red Dog. What a great guy. If you knew him, if you worked with him, you knew he was, you don't push him. Don't shove him because you're not going to like it. But he's the most honorable person I have ever known in my life. The most honorable person. What a great guy. What a great guy. Derek, Ruffy, and Maxine. I've met Maxine, Bo's wife, and Dean Bird. Like I said, I used to work for him. These are great people. Great people. So that's it for today. I'm going to keep the video short today. And I'm going to need your help. I'm going to be asking for help here pretty soon. And let's do a bang-up job. Let's give our family members and friends a big shout out. And then let's memorialize the hell out of them, because I think it's the thing to do. So until next time, this is Dwayne Thomas. Catch you on a flip-flop. Elvis has left the building.